question for Rebecca and for Kateri. Rebecca, what is this? You talked to family and friends back home, your success in this tournament against LSU. What's the feedback you're getting from them? And then Kateri, it's kind of been an up and down year in terms of playing time for you, but after your injury, you've come back and filled a very good role for this team. Can you take me through that just in terms of the way your season's gone?
Okay, so I talk to my family and my friends at home like every day. So it's like a big deal for them. We get to Sweet 16. I watched the game with my parents like a few hours later when we got home because of the time change. And they were super excited. It's like a big deal. So yeah, I'm celebrating with them. They're happy for me. So
I think the main thing is just, being supportive of my teammates and what we're able and can accomplish. And, no matter what, just the minutes that you do get, just be your best and show what you can do and also help your teammates as well. So that's just been my mentality throughout the whole year.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. If any of you can answer this. Coach was just in here talking about how Taylor, one thing that she's brought this year is, she's played in the NCAA tournament. She has big game experience and big time tournament experience. Has she talked about that over the last couple of weeks? Helped anyone like get to know what it was going to be like? Or I was just curious, like how that has helped your team, you think?
Yeah. Her experience helped her and it helps us, of course, but no, she hasn't really talked about the past. We just focus on us and what's going on now. So definitely it helps having her on the court and she knows what she's doing. So, but we just focus on now and our team.
So we have a couple more in the room and then we'll jump to Zoom.
AJ McCord, Coin TV. This is for any of you guys as well. Coach talked about how you really only had that one practice between your game Monday and then coming into today. What was the biggest focus for you guys coming off of the big win against LSU for that practice to get ready for this week?
Yeah.
I think the main thing was just staying focused and, just playing our game. And, if anybody has questions, we could just reach out throughout a text. So, it's not that hard. I think everybody's on the same page and everybody wants it together for each other. So, just locking in and being able to work for each other and, create that unity is just what means the most to us right now.
Yeah. And he just made it clear that we're not done. So that win was great, but we're still here to play.
Let's jump up here first and then we'll jump in the back. Yeah.
Joey Coburn from the Columbus Dispatch. Also for any of you, Ohio State hasn't gone past the Sweet 16 since 1993. Is that something you guys were aware of? What would it mean for you to I guess get past that point, which hasn't happened in a while?
Go ahead, Ricky. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we didn't know that. But no, we just want to win and play. I mean, at this point, we're coming in as the underdogs in most of our games right now. So just playing hard and playing together. It's no chip on our shoulders. We just want to win.
Go in the back and then we'll jump on Zoom.
Natalie Weiner, New York Times. Obviously at LSU, you were playing in a pretty hostile environment. I mean, they were, they packed the house and they were into it. Does it feel good to be at a neutral site after that? Or did that kind of like fuel you a little bit to have antagonistic crowd around you?
I'm over here itching for that question because I'm used to that environment. So, I'm used to the environment in New York, so it's pretty lively and, just having my teammates know my energy is there. They don't really get that side from me. So I think being able to see that from everybody, from the coaching staff to the last player on the bench was just, everybody was locked in for that game. So I think, everybody was ready for that atmosphere. When we got off the bus, it was crazy. So, I think, we just bought into it and did what we did.
Yeah. Let's jump on Zoom. Dan Hope, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Dan Hope from 11 Warriors. Question for any one of you. To beat LSU on their home court and already get one upset in this tournament, how much more confidence does that give you going into this weekend to feel like you can go get another upset or two?
I would say, it's good. We weren't really looking at it as an upset. We think we're one of the best teams in the NCAA. So it just was a a good win for us, and we just got to play hard and keep going.
Thomas Costello.
Thank you. Thomas Costello, Land Grant and Holy Land. Two questions. First, for Ricky, I noticed before the game against LSU, you were talking to Kayla Pointer. You were saying something to her. I want to know what you said. You look pretty fired up. You were rubbing your hands together, ready to get going into the game. And then for everybody, you're playing now against Big 12 tournament champions, Texas Longhorns. What do you see from them, and where do you think that your strengths can kind of outweigh theirs?
Yeah. So before the game, I was singing to the music, and then I heard the whistle, so I'm just like, let's go, and I'm just yelling. And then going into this game against Texas, it's just another game. They're a good team, but we're a good team. So it's just gonna come down to the heart and who wants it more.
I think March is for everybody, and the person that comes out from the beginning, you know, coming off the plane is the person that takes it all. And I think we're a championship team and a national championship team. And any given day is for anybody, but we're going to come out and work hard.
We'll go to Oken on Zoom, and then we'll come back in the room for more questions.
Hey, Rebecca, it's Okan with Sportcal Media. During the regular season, you had 17 points against Iowa. It looks like in big games, even the one against LSU, you had 12 points early in the game. When you step up like that, the team has a better chemistry and able to make things happen. Last question: what is like the feeling in the locker room when you guys are all coming together to kind of help each other in terms of not just offensive but defensive mindset?
How does that happen? And then as to how does sorry, and then as to how like do we react to that and how it's like our future?
Okay. So both games, Iowa and LSU, I think I helped the team. I hit some good shots, which helped, and just like the support from my teammates when they believe me, when they pass me the ball, I think that's like the best feeling when I know that they believe I can make it, then I believe in myself. So the feeling like in the locker room and on the court, it's huge. I feel like we have great chemistry, so that helps.
Let's come back in the room here. Go ahead.
Rebecca, coach was just in here talking about the 5-out offense that you guys run. And he said that part of it is there aren't a lot of true post players left in the game, and that every post player wants to be a guard secretly. I was curious when he recruited you, is that something you talked about? I mean, you're the tallest player on the roster, but you've attempted, I think, 72 threes this season. So do you secretly want to be a guard, or do you think of yourself as a guard?
I don't really think I was thinking about that way, that I'm secretly a guard. I don't think so. I just feel like especially here in the US, there's not that many post players that shoot the ball. Like they're used to being in a paint and just like being physical. So I feel like that's what I brought like for this team, to like be able to step outside, shoot the ball. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm secretly a guard. I'm still a post player.
She brings the ball up the court a couple of times in practice. So
I'm not gonna lie, she hit us with one of these moves in practice. And I'm like, she's the point guard from now on.
I don't like guarding Rebecca in practice. It's not fun.
We can jump back on Zoom. Dan Hope, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I'll ask for Ricky. Coach McGuff said before that you guys have better chemistry than he's seen in past year, a better balance. Someone who's been here for a couple years. Is that something you see this year, that this team just has a better chemistry than you've had in the past?
Yeah, we definitely have a better chemistry. We play for each other. That's the big change. I know in past years that we played for each other, but not everyone did. Everybody on this team wants to see everybody else succeed. So, and I think like bringing out the dub chain really helped with that, because we don't really care who win it. Everybody plays hard, so anybody deserves it. But knowing that you have people that want you to succeed and do well is a great feeling that makes the team better.
Go ahead in the room.
Joey Cobbin from the Columbus Dispatch. Question for any of you, but Texas brings a lot of pressure with their defense. They press a lot. And the fact that you guys have faced that in practice, has that helped some? And just what have you kind of seen on film of the way Texas can get after teams and force turnovers?
I mean, it was good to see in practice. I think that's good for them, but we're a good defensive team too. So I guess it's just gonna be a defensive game. I mean, offense will come for both teams, go score. So I guess it's just gonna be who's willing to make the extra play on defense and go after that loose ball and dive on the ground. And I know we're ready to do that all game. So whoever can last the longest.
Let's jump back on Zoom. Oken, go ahead and ask your question.
Yep, this is out to all the players. So a lot of people are not picking OSU or the Buckeyes to advance, but what you guys have been able to do as a team is impeccable and impressive. So what is the biggest strength that you guys have that you guys want to let the nation know that you guys are a team that has the power to advance?
Kateri, why don't we start with you? Yeah.
Well, the Buckeyes are here now, so that's all that advancing and bracket stuff is done with. I believe that our mentality is stronger than any other team in the NCAA, and like we said, we're very, very tough on each other and want everybody to succeed. So that oneness and unity just plays a huge role in it. And we're locked in together, then nobody can stop us or ourselves, you know? So I think we're good with that one.
So we're good at accepting pressure. So as long as we stick together throughout the whole thing, we're good. And that's all. I mean, we just stay together. We had a lot of teams, when we play them, they bring their best game against us. So we just know that no matter what, if we stay together, we're going to be good.
Any last questions from anyone? All right, let's open up the questions in the room, please.
Kevin, Matt Andrews, Ohio State Learfield. What are the last 48 hours been like? You get home wee hours Tuesday morning, quick turnaround. You're here now. Well, I guess how have they handled it? What's the focus as you're here now?
Yeah, so it's obviously a quick turnaround. We got back from Baton Rouge late Monday, early Tuesday, got to the house at, I don't know, 3:15 or so. And we took Tuesday off so we could get some rest and kids could kind of get their everything together. And then had a, pretty good practice yesterday and hopped on the plane and came out here. So I kind of, it's a quick turnaround, but I don't really mind it because I don't really want to be sitting around all week thinking about the game. Let's get up here. Let's get prepared and let's play.
AJ McCord out of Portland, Oregon. With that, just having one practice between last game and this game, what was the biggest focus for your team so that you're ready for tomorrow?
We kind of, with a limited amount of preparation, we try to focus on, hey, let's do some things that will allow us to be the best version of ourselves. Then we did sprinkle in, obviously, things that make Texas unique. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. So we did some work in those areas to try to prepare us for the game.
Hi, Kevin. Joey Cobbin from the Columbus Dispatch. A win tomorrow, would it be obviously a big point for the program because you guys haven't been past the Sweet 16 since '93. Have you thought about that at all this week? How much has that kind of been in the back of your mind as kind of like a stepping stone that you're trying to achieve as a program?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would obviously be a huge milestone. We have a very passionate fan base who takes a lot of pride in our program, and for them, I think it would be a huge deal. And certainly then for our players and for what we're trying to accomplish and who we're trying to be as a program, that'd be an obvious next step for us.
It looks like I'll have two more in the room and then we'll jump on Zoom here for those waiting on Zoom.
Kevin, just if you could talk about Texas, maybe who you've played that reminds you of them or doesn't remind you of them, and some of the challenges for you all.
Well, like I said, they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. And I think what makes them unique is their ball pressure, their ability to deny passing lanes and disrupt offenses makes them arguably the best defensive team in the country. And the scary part about that is they're as good as anyone in the country at taking live ball turnovers and turning them into layups. So I think two huge things that kind of stand out to me is that we're going to have to take care of the ball and not turn the ball over. So that'll be a stat to look at the end of the game to see where we're at with that. And then the other one is just our ability to keep them off the glass. They're a very physical, athletic team that could really do some damage on the offensive boards.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Kevin, Taylor has had quite the tour of colleges over her years. When she went into the portal last year, what did you remember about her from when she played at Maryland? And then what did you think she'd be able to do and help your team with?
Well, I'll start with, as I've told her several times, it's about time she got this right. But in all seriousness, one of the things that, I mean, first of all, she's a terrific player, and obviously her ability to score from the 3-point line. And I think she's added some things to her game off the dribble and so forth. It's just been huge for us. I think also her experience at playing at a high level when she came into our program, and we don't have many people who have played in the NCAA tournament. So she's been able to really lead, especially when we've gotten here to postseason, and just kind of espouse some of her wisdom and what it takes to be successful at this point in the NCAA tournament. I did unsuccessfully, but yes.
Let's jump on Zoom now. We'll take questions in the room after that. Thomas Costello, we'll go with you first. If you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thanks for the time, Coach. I appreciate it. Last game against LSU, you have Caleb Pointer. Now you're going up against Roy Harmon. What do you tell your guards going up against, Big 12 freshman of the year and arguably playing much better than a freshman would? What's your kind of message to them? And also, second question, on the defensive side, you mentioned their baseline to baseline, really hard pressure on defense. What's your message to the players trying to kind of circumvent that?
Well, with Roy, she's had an incredible season and is just a very special player, and she presents a lot of challenges for us. I think the first one is to try to just get her a little bit under control in transition, because when she gets going, if she gets lanes to the basket, she's going to get there and she's going to finish. And I think just in general too, I don't think with one person you're going to say, hey, she's going to guard Rory and going to shut her down. We've got to really, really be heavy and just helping each other keep her away from the basket, because when she gets going downhill, she's just really tough to stop. So it's going to have to be a collective effort to try to keep her away from the rim. And then with their defense, I think the biggest thing for us is just kind of stay poised and stay organized. And, LSU really turned the heat up when we got a lead on them the other day. And we had a little bit of difficulties, but I think for the most part, JC and Taylor and Braxton just had the poise and organization that was needed to just keep our team under control and make sure we didn't turn the ball over.
Next question on Zoom from Dan Hope.
Hey, Kevin, when you've already had a big upset like you just did to go, beat a number 3 seed LSU in their home court, how much do you see that, build confidence in your team that now, you have a chance to go, get another upset or two this weekend?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And with the win at LSU in such a tough environment, it really did, I think, raise the level of confidence for our players. I think we had a strong belief going in that we could win, but then to actually do it and to play very well. We played one of our best basketball games at the right time. And so hopefully that gives them confidence as we, prepare for this very, very talented and well-coached Texas team.
Another question here on Zoom from Okan. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, Coach, it's Okan with Sport Kill Media. Obviously, they're going to double team Maxell, and they're also going to double team Taylor as well. What is the game plan in case things switch up on you in terms of Texas defense?
Yeah, like always, JC and Taylor are going to garner a lot of attention from Texas and how they prepare for us. And so it'll need to be a team effort. I mean, they're going to have to obviously play well and score for us to have a chance to win, but it's going to have to be more of a team effort, I think, versus Texas than maybe it has been in some other games.
We can come back to questions in the room now.
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch. Kevin, just looking at kind of the big picture of your time at Ohio State, how would you compare this team to other teams, 17 and 16, that there were also Sweet 16 teams?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I would tell you, and I say this with great reverence to this team, because this has been one of the most enjoyable seasons I've ever had in 20 years as a head coach. I don't know that this from top to bottom is as talented as some of the teams we've had in the past, but this is the best chemistry that we've had with a team that I've had a chance to coach at Ohio State.
Natalie Weiner, New York Times. Like we sort of have been talking about, obviously with the upset, some of the teams that have had a lot more like national recognition are already out of the running. So maybe for an audience that hasn't seen Ohio State play yet this season, what would you consider like some of your trademarks? What are your priorities?
Yeah, we've kind of, I think a big part of our identity is our offensive, our pace and the pace that we play at, and to try to generate offense and how fast we are up the court. Our spacing, we have a little bit of a unique style where we play a lot of 5-out basketball, where most people are a little more traditional with post players around the basket. And we've recruited to that, to be able to play that way. And then we also, we press every game, and sometimes it's the whole time, and sometimes it's just part of the time, how it goes. So I think those would be the things that make us a little bit different than some of the other teams that you might watch.
Kevin, I was just curious, have you and Vic coached against each other at any of your previous stops?
No, not with Vic as the head coach. We have not. No.
Is that unique at this point in the tournament to be going up against someone you've never actually had to game plan against?
Yeah, it is a little bit unique. And by the way, and I've known Vic for ever since I've probably almost 25 years, or more than 25 years. I've known him and consider him a good friend. And he's done an incredible job at 2 programs now, Mississippi State and Texas. He's a terrific coach. And, but I've never actually coached against him. I have a former player, April Phillips, who's on his staff as an assistant coach, who played for me at Xavier. So a lot of familiar connections, but we've never coached against each other.
Kevin, Tim Booth from the Associated Press. For those who saw your system when you were coaching at Washington across the state, how has that system of playing 5-out and being more maybe guard oriented evolved since then?
We started there. We were running the dribble drive, playing very fast, scoring a lot of points. But it was a 4-round-1 kind of up tempo style, and we've evolved a little bit in that we've specifically recruited post players that could play away from the basket, and kind of modeled it after what they do in the NBA. You see a lot, and I've had conversations and Zoom calls with NBA coaches just to garner ideas, and we've done like our own research. But so we were playing fast at Washington. It was a little more 4-round-1, and we've kind of shifted to a 5-out motion offense here at Ohio State in the last couple of years, I should say.
Is that because you guys, do you feel as a coach that there just aren't as many good traditional back to the basket players anymore? Like, is this where the game is evolving, or is this just like not like players in the paint or something?
Yeah, it's a couple of reasons. One, that's part of it. It's you make recruiting calls nowadays, and every post player wants to be a guard. So it's like, okay, quit fighting it. Let's just do it. Like, let's form a system that we can accommodate that. And so that's part of it. And I also think that if we're doing it right, it can be more efficient. Take, for example, like Texas, if their post players are allowed to hang around the basket all the time, every time we drive it in, they're contesting shots at the rim. Now, if we can bring them away from the basket a little bit, it allows us to get to the rim and be a little more effective.
Let's go back to Zoom. Dan Hope, go ahead and unmute yourself for your question.
Hey, Kevin, you mentioned, the chemistry on this team. It seems like you guys have had, really good balance too, of having, 2 great scorers in JC and Taylor, but then also getting a lot of contributions from, Rebecca and Braxton and Tanea and Ricky. Do you feel that maybe this team has, a better balance than teams you've had in the past?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mentioned the chemistry, but I think that the next step to the whole thing, kind of where you're going with, is to kind of role definition. And, we know Taylor and JC are going to get a lot of shots, but everybody else everybody's fine with that. But everybody else shows up in a way to contribute. And we have been significantly more kind of outside of those two. We've had a lot of balance and a lot of contribution from a lot of people throughout the year.
On Zoom, Okan, I see your hand. You have a question, or is that still up from last time?
It was still up from last time, but I can ask. Hey, Coach.
Okay.
Toka, it's Okan again with SportKel Media. So I've had the privilege of covering you guys all season. And one of the things that you and I kind of talk about is rebounding. And And I know that that's going to be a key contribution to winning when you play Texas. I had also had opportunity to go to Pittsburgh and watch the men, and I realized when Zach Key came into the game, his rebounding it was one of the um, key contribution to the way they played in the second half. Can you just talk about the defensive mindset, offensive and defensive mindset when it comes to rebounding?
Well, that's going to be a huge thing for us. Texas is incredibly athletic, physical, and aggressive on the boards. And when we were in Louisiana, I said, excuse my French, because we were down there and French is okay. I think I can say in the Northwest, we're going to have to fight like hell on every possession to get the ball back if we want to win on Friday.
One last question in the room here, and then we'll wrap up.
I'm just fascinated by the 5-out thing. So I'm guessing you've at least at this point watched a little bit of film on Stanford. Do you think a player like Haley Jones is where the game is moving?
Yeah, and Cameron Brink as well. I mean, they're so skilled, versatile. And when I say 5-out, we start like that, and we will roll our post players to the basket at times, and we certainly get the ball around the basket. But instead of just running down and going like that and getting in a wrestling match from the first seconds of the possession, we start them on the perimeter. We make the other team's post players play out there, and then we may cut them or screen them to roll to the basket. But specifically to Stanford's players, they are, I think where the game is going. And I think what young people want to aspire to be is versatile players that can play anywhere on the court. And obviously Stanford does as good a job as anybody in the country in moving them around and executing to put them in position to be successful.